Joining me now is Annie Cyrus, born and raised in Iran, an expert on Iran, and she has been tracking what's going on with the potential strike by Israel and the U.S. on Iran. President Trump has come out and said that if there is a strike necessary, that Iran needs to lead the way. Here's the headline right here. Trump on Iran. If it requires military action, Israel will be the leader of that. Got plenty of articles and some video clips to share with you tonight. And she joins us now. Annie, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Brandon.
What do you make of this comment by President Trump out today, April 10th, that if Iran is going to get hit, you're going to get their nuclear weapons gone after, Israel's going to have to lead the way? Why do you think President Trump is coming out and saying this?
To be honest, I don't even know why he's doing what he's doing anymore. It's very confusing, but in this very specific part, my guess is he's still trying to find some sort of leverage with his deal that is going to start Saturday. He's trying to have that leverage. Us leading the attack, information distance, all of that isn't as scary as Israel leading the attack for the regime of Iran. That's my best guess.
Wait a minute. You're saying it's scarier for Iran if Israel's the one leading it, not the U.S.?
Absolutely. Yes. It will be way more terrifying.
Really? Okay. Well, I'd love to hear why. Aaron, on my radio show earlier today, said that, and he said this live on the air the other day, that the footage of Benjamin Netanyahu coming out of the White House after his meeting with President Trump, he said this live on the air when I played it. He said, Brandon, I see a look in Netanyahu's face and body language that says that this is his description, he is like a dog with his tail under his legs. That was what Aaron said. He said, that's the body language and the look I see in Netanyahu's face after just meeting with Trump. And he was carrying a book. And I was thinking to myself, wonder what book he's carrying. Well, the press said it was a signed copy by Donald Trump of his book, The Art of the Deal.
Yes.
And Netanyahu says, Aaron says that Netanyahu is being criticized by some in Israel for being too timid, too hesitant. Of course, I was on the radio and TV before October 7th, and I was getting pretty loud one night, pretty loud and angry, because I felt Benjamin Netanyahu was too busy kissing Biden's ring and not taking care of what was best for Israel when it came to defense. And of course, within a few weeks, we had October 7th. And I think there's frustration in Israel, according to Aaron, who lives there, that there are Israelis over there that are very, very bold and wanting this to be dealt with. And they feel that Netanyahu has a history of being too timid. And he went in to explain why he thinks that's the case. What are your thoughts on all that?
I would say what I saw was more of a disappointment in his body language than anything else. And you can add a lot of Iranians to that list, by the way, of the frustration. Iranians inside Iran or outside, including myself, are very frustrated with this. The whole deal situation. I know some people think something good is going to come out of this, but me and you and most of your audience are pretty sure nothing good is going to come out of this deal. So what I saw in Netanyahu was, I'm going to walk in there and we're going to close the deal. We're going to go after Iran. We're going to finish it. But then he left with you just hold off for now and I'll see what I can do with the deal.
Okay,
and
so
yes,
that's interesting.
I did see that was the book as well, The Art of Deal.
Isn't that very interesting? So Aaron thinks it was a look of his tails between his legs, and you think it was a look of disappointment. I came here to get commitments from Trump that we're going to go do this, and Trump's saying, you got to learn the deal, how we get the deal. Here's my book, go read it. I'm working the art of the deal. This is very, because I respect both of your opinions, so this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. There is an article today over at the Gatestone. Here it is, Trump and the Supreme Leader's Trap. Trump and the Supreme Leader's Trap. The Amir Tahari wrote it. Do you know Amir, Annie?
Yes, I do follow some of his work, yes.
What do you know about him?
I follow some of his work. I personally do not agree with about 70% of his analysis. but he's well educated on the topic. It's just a difference of opinion when it comes to translation of actions and reactions.
Okay. He's saying that Tehran's aim is either to derail the whole thing in direct negotiations with the Trump administration and blame Trump, or go into slow motion mode in the hope that the U.S. midterm elections might puncture the Trump balloon. He's basically saying, look, these guys have slow walked about 7 presidents. Is this going to be the 8th? I can't see this thing dragging out to midterms. Can you?
No, I don't. But I will say one comment he made there. It's not necessarily his words, because the former head of Khamenei, Supreme Leader of Iran's advisors, did say yesterday that this dictator, referring to Trump, won't last long. So we got nothing to worry about. Part of Iran regime are under this illusion that Trump's not going to even make it to finish this negotiation because he's going to get impeached and removed. So that's where Amir's coming from. However, I don't think I do, Brandon. I do think this deal is going to drag on because President Trump is desperately looking for this deal right now. I know there are so many opinions out there, but he is not trying to get this strike. He's not trying to be diplomatic, try always before all of the ways before he goes attacking. No, he wants this deal to make history.
And is it also, though, Annie, that he realizes if we go to war with Iran, we now have Russia back there saying, you guys are not going to strike Iran. And if you do, that's going to be a problem. So, I mean, are we going to get America stretched into a multi-theater situation here? And then China's going to move on Taiwan and blockade? Or who knows? I mean, is President Trump thinking, I'm not going to walk into a trap. I'm not going to have the globalist and the folks in Europe and other people walk me into a trap. I'm not doing that. I'm not sending people's kids off to die and doing this. Is he trying to cut a deal also because he knows that we have massive terrorists here in the U.S.? Here's Joe Kent. He's the director, National Counterterrorism Center. He is the nominee. He's had hearings here in the last day or so. I had the privilege of interviewing him in person. Actually, we were at CPAC, and I was interviewing him, and the power went out. And we sat in the dark at CPAC waiting for the power to come back on. And we had a great conversation just off the record, back and forth, while we were waiting for that power to come back on. We've had him on at other times as well. But I want you to listen to what, and of course, he lost his wife overseas, who was the mother of his children. She was fighting ISIS. Listen to what he's had to say, because maybe President Trump knows this as well.
They brought tens of thousands of unvetted Afghans into the United States of America. Now, NCTC has done their job, and they've identified over 1,400 of these Afghans as having ties to ISIS and other terrorist groups. Yet Biden let them into the interior of the United States. Same thing with a bunch of ISIS-affiliated Tajiks and Uzbeks who came into the United States of America as well. There's around 600 of them that were also identified by NCTC that are here in America right now.
There are over...
Right, so there you go. What about all of these terror cells? He knows they're here. I'm sure he's told President Trump they're here. Is President Trump trying to get a deal because he knows a strike against Iran, particularly if the U.S. is involved, is going to mean terror strikes here in our homeland?
It could be, yes, but it's one of those situations, Brandon. He makes a deal or not. I guess he needs to show strength and not fear. Remember, we're dealing with the biggest recent years of biggest terrorist organizers and funders out there, which is the regime of Iran. If they even sense that, oh, okay, we're going to try to make a deal with them so they don't attack us here, that's even worse. And by the way, I want to say, me and you, we have actually covered what you just played many times. From the withdrawal, we were on air, talk about showing pictures of this guy's not even Afghan, that guy's Palestinian. So, but here's the tone of it though. ISIS and Al-Qaeda, the chances of them attacking us here in America because we attacked Iran are very slim. Very slim. they would prefer, because remember, ISIS and Al-Qaeda are hoping by removal of IRGC in Middle East, they gain the momentum to take over. Right now, they have not been able to conquer as much as they want because Iran's regime is there. So I would say also we should take into consideration that we're not going to get attacked by ISIS or Al-Qaeda soldiers if we go after Iran. Are we going to have the risk of possibly getting attacked with IRGC and the Houthis and Hamas members? Yes.
How about Hezbollah?
Hezbollah as well. But here's a funny or breaking funny story. Nighttime, our time last night, morning of Middle East, Hezbollah actually said if U.S. stops any attacks on Hezbollah and Lebanon, they're willing to talk disarming. How's that for a possibility? They're willing to talk to us and disarm themselves and become nothing but a government. So again, and by the way, Khamenei is losing popularity rapidly.
The Khomeini.
Khamenei, yes, the supreme leader of Iran.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, as we speak, the number of within the government of Iran, people who are asking for him to resign and step down is growing by minute. He's losing power just over this agreeing, by the way, for agreeing to sit down with Trump in direct negotiations. That's the key. They have no problem with indirect, but since he agreed to sit down direct, not himself, his representative, that's becoming a problem. My point is...
Okay, let me stop right there. Are you saying that the hardliners in his country now are starting to abandon him?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
So you got the hardliners abandoning him, and you've got the Persians who don't want to live under Sharia. They're wanting liberty and freedom. So you now have a fractured problem over there that comes back to where you were talking here on the show a couple weeks ago. President Trump should go to the third option, which is be helping using his CIA, his intelligence community to carry out a revolution in Iran, which our CIA and intelligence community has done that before over there, right?
And here's the thing, we don't even need that, Brannon. The Prince Pahlavi is ready to take power. And I just want to say this because somebody commented when I was on your show. He is not going back to be the king of Iran. He has said that he's willing to create a temporary government, not a kingdom, until people of Iran figure out what's going on. So let's be very clear. He's not looking for his dad's crown back. He's not going for monarchy. But he is willing to take power, so we don't have to worry about who do we put in country to keep it under control. People of Iran are ready to march the streets already. About 70% of the job is done. All we're asking is don't make a deal with them. Don't even talk to them. Just ignore them like they don't exist. That's all we need to do. And shake the hands of the prince as of support. Like, okay, we will accept you as the new government. That's all there is to it. Inside country, there's a fraction. Half of the regime want Khamenei gone. The other half are telling him, this is great because you're going to buy us time. This morning on X, one of the military members put out the tweet saying, this is great. We'll have enough time to move all of our enriched materials to a different location. That's where they're at, Brannon. These are slow talks. That's why Israelis are also very frustrated. They're moving everything as we speak. These threats are empty at this point. A bunch of bombs might be a strike, but we're not going to target what we were planning because they're moving everything to different locations. How long until we relocate all of them?
Well, and here is Netanyahu saying Iran deal must entail blowing up, dismantling nuclear sites.
That's not going to happen. It won't. And then again, you have inside administration, Trump administration, you have people like Tulsi Gabbard that myself and Trevor Loudon have been warning about, sitting there with a straight face saying, we have no intel that would say they're making a bomb. They're not even working on a bomb. So I think, again, we're...
Why would she say that? Why would she say that?
Well... I personally, from day one, I said Tulsi Gabbard is not some a person who came to her senses and became a Republican because she loves America. No. She knew where the wind is blowing, and she decided to come out and getting a position in this administration. My biggest warning was wait for the day when she will be cut for leaking information, sensitive information. That's Tulsi Gabbard to me. Her stance against Russia, Iran, has always been very questionable. And now she's willing to sit and testify in front of Congress that my information says they're honoring their supreme leader's judgment of 2003 to not pursue nuclear bomb. And they're just taking notes like, okay, great. Okay, no nuclear bomb. We're good. Let's go make a deal with Iran. Again, Trump, I wish President Trump would talk to Iranian experts, because he's still getting wrong information. He is. He's not getting all the good advice he should get.
Do you think he's getting conflicting information from his own cabinet?
Yes.
Own IC
100%.
community?
Yes.
Iran transfers long-range missiles to Iraq in major escalation. What do you make of this from a couple days ago? Yesterday, actually.
That's where I started answering you with everything is very confusing right now. The actions and the words are so mismatching. They're not matching. It's okay. One hand, supposedly the Iran regime or supreme leader is willing to sit down and have a negotiation, and knowing part of the negotiation is they need to behave. They need to stop. On the other hand, they are still actively trying to take control of Iraq, since they've been trying to do it, by the way, since Saddam Hussein was taken down. They are also actively trying to get into Syria. So which one is it? Are you going to negotiate, back down, and just sit down, or are you actively trying to conquer the entire Middle East? Because Iran is actively trying to get into Syria. And by get in, I mean own it, conquer it, rule it. And that's what they're doing.
Let's see, what else we got? Talk to me about, have you been following our coverage on all of the Islamic developments, Irving, Texas, Dallas, Texas,
Yes.
Plano, Texas? I mean, it seems like they're trying to take down Texas. And I think they're willing to do it because if they can take down Texas, they can take down any country. I mean, any state. What do you say?
Well, I have actually started calling Texas the possibly the first Sharia state in America.
Wow.
Not the city anymore, the state. Now, mind you, when this was happening many years ago, some of us were talking about it. Most people were ignoring it. Right now, for example, Fort Worth, Dallas area has just the Iranian population is over 32,000. You add the Afghans and the Arabs and the Pakistanis and the Bangladeshis, all of them into it. Fort Worth, Dallas is not America anymore. It's not. Are all of them Muslim Middle Easterns? No, but enough of them are Muslim Middle Eastern. Then they started importing them into Austin. Then they started importing them they are everywhere. Brennan, about 2 years ago, I moved to Dallas for about 9 months.
Yep.
I watched it with my own eyes. I walked on the street. I'm like, where are the Americans? Where am I? What is happening? Half the population is wearing the hijab and half the stores are selling halal. So
explain what halal is. We always like to define things for new people. What's halal?
Sure. Halal is the allowed product under Islam. It could be food. It could be materials. I mean, at this point, they're even doing halal hair dye for women apparently lately, but it's what is allowed under Sharia, either through prayers or how it was prepared.
So like meat,
food.
Meat that's been offered to
Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. As far as food goes, any food that was prepared, or if it's meat or chicken or anything slaughtered in the right way, which is so barbaric, in the name of Allah and sacrificed to Allah, then becomes something as a Muslim you're allowed to eat.
And that's that's all over Dallas now.
Everywhere. There were two places I could go to, Walmart or I forgot the name of the other big chain store, to get normal meat that wasn't halal. Every other supermarket, a small corner supermarket, was halal meat, halal meat, halal meat. And by the way, even if the whole store is American, they have one item that's halal, I will not shop at that store because for selling halal, they have to cut Islamic taxes from that product and send it back to the Islamic leaders of that society. Therefore, I won't buy anything, even if it's not halal, from a store that is selling halal product. So I was stuck with Walmart. Was literally the only place I could go and get things and survive. So Dallas was conquered already. It was. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, no, it's Texas. But yes, Brannon, if what is happening right now, if properly it's not stopped, I will say by latest, 2030, Texas will be the complete Sharia state in America.
By 2030.
By 2030, it will be completed. We even had Will Johnson, dear friend of mine. We sent him. He was willing to do it. He went undercover at one of the Islamic centers outside of Austin, Texas, and did a full report. At some point, he was terrified because the imam took him upstairs on the roof, and he was like, I was terrified. They're going to just push me off the roof, which thankfully they didn't. But he captured everything. Kids being brainwashed, all the meetings going on. And by the way, this Islamic Center has ties to Iran, just for the record. We did a full investigation into them. And when I released the information, people from Austin was like, really? There's an Islamic Center here? Where? They're not paying attention.
Nope. Well, you know that Usama and Shramani in 2017 tried warning about Yasser Qadi. We were doing it several years before that, but it really heated up in 2017. And it was crickets. It was crickets that this guy was here bringing in Siraj Wahhaj, unindicted co-conspirator in the bombing of the World Trade Center and others. And now he's moved on to Plano to build this 402-acre compound. What do you think Greg Abbott will do about it, the governor? You think he's full of hot air? Because I think he is. I
am with you on that. Yes, absolutely. He is not going to lift a finger. He's going to do a lot of talking.
A lot of tweeting.
But he's not going to do anything about it. It's going to have to be the people of Texas to do something about it.
Why do you think he's afraid? Is it money? Is it he's afraid of them, or is it money deals, Middle East deals? I don't know where his personal finances or things are, where he's got his money invested. But why do you think he won't do what's right by Texas?
I think with him is that he's always so terrified of labels. I really think it's the fear of those labels. He doesn't want to go down in history as the Islamophobic, racist man. Generally, he's mainly worried about that. Or possibly, remember, when the numbers are high, he doesn't want to lose the next election. If he pushed too hard against them, he's going to lose all the votes, or majority of the votes, because a lot of them are Muslims or Muslim sympathizers. So that's also part of it. He doesn't want to lose them. He's too afraid of losing votes, position, and being labeled. Because a few times I have noticed that he backed down when labels started coming in. He very much softened his tone and then gradually stopped talking about the topic of Sharia. This isn't the first time he's coming out tweeting. He's done it before, many times before, but he never does anything about it.
Well, he sure let the border sit with nothing going on for a long time.
Exactly.
All right, live up to anything else you need to tell us before we let you go?
One thing I want to say is pay, not to your audience, pay very close attention to the U.S.-Israel relation while this Iran deal goes on. I'm hoping, people don't start showing anti-Semitism based on reaction of people of Israel or even the government. It might come to a very, very narrow, tough moment of making decision for Netanyahu, Trump versus Iran. So just keep an open mind that just because Trump's doing it doesn't mean it's the best deal or the best option. Just watch it as it plays out.
Live up to freedom. Good advice. LiveUpToFreedom.com. LiveUpToFreedom.com. That's Annie's website. You can find out about her and her podcast and everything there. LiveUpToFreedom.com. As always, Annie, thank you for your analysis on these issues.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, Brennan.
Thank you, Annie. Annie Cyrus, LiveUpToFreedom.com.